Hello, everyone. This is Hendrix from Starseed Talk, and today I'm going to be speaking with Ra, and he's going to introduce himself.
Yeah, my name is Arcturus RA. The name came through my awakening. Um, Download saying to me that I'm Arcturian. I also had Syrian lives, but predominantly like my governor is Arcturus and Ra as in the Sun Collective. People always say like, is it the Sun God? It's the Sun God. That doesn't mean it's deified or it's one being. And the same mistake with religions make. With God, it is a collective consciousness that I resonate with, and hence the name Arcturus Ra, meaning the light from Arcturus, meaning that my body emanates the signature of thought manifests in 3D from the Arcturian star system. And that's why the name Arcturus Ra, real simple.
That's amazing. Do you remember when your first awakening was, or were you just awakened your whole life?
So I was awake my whole life. It was actually complicated. You know, when you see those movies, like these Disney movies, when kids have special skills and everybody in school admires the miracle worker, it didn't quite work for me as an indigo crystal rainbow child because I had all the symptoms. First of all, they try to put me in a special ed class. You know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
They telling me I'm too much of a feeler.
Yeah.
I've
I had that.
practiced linear and shit.
Yeah, I was thrown into special ed classes my entire elementary and high school.
Yeah,
Always.
see?
And
Yeah.
I had no idea why. And then I had 5 teachers hovering around me, and I was doing all these like extra testing and scores and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I was having a really hard time understanding it. Or
Yeah.
I was confused. Yeah.
Yeah, and they did tests with us that they didn't do with other children. So I don't know, I always hear grown-ups talking, and I think it was governmental control because now nobody remembers. They were screening kids at our school in Germany. So they took me and a few other kids out, and then we had these tests where they showed us symbols in geometry, and we had to put colors and geometry and symbols together. And it wasn't about being good or bad. They wanted to see our perception,
Is that a Starseed test?
I don't know. I think the government was screening us as a control mechanism, very hidden. They do this did this in the 70s with all the schools. And then they picked a few kids like me into these special classes where we were taught a little different. Also, I was a lefty, and they kind of were like training me to write with right. So this is trained. I'm naturally a left. And that came back when when I go to places like Hawaii or being in Sedona, my left arm became dominant again. So I know, I'm also ambidextrous. I can work tools with this hand. There's no difference. Same thing. So they trying to, they told my mom that saying that I was a daydreamer, that I'm not paying attention in class, that I'm living in my own world, that I have a problem with authority. I was nonviolent though, absolutely nonviolent. And they say that's also
You sound like my twin self.
Yeah, and they're like, it's not good that he doesn't fight back. He needs to fight, like all of this crap. And then when I was in school and I saw the crap going on in the classroom and the narcissism, I had days where I walked across the street into the woods and sat with the woods because I just needed quiet. It was just a mess. And then they said, okay, this dude has to go to a school shrink. He doesn't apply to the rules. He doesn't write. I understand having star language dormant in you makes it very difficult to write Earth language. And to this day, my handwriting is a mess. When I do star language codes, it's pristine without training. So I know what my set is. Back then, I didn't know that. So I wasn't famous. I was more an outcast because I didn't fit in.
It's a Starseed trait. We're all outcasts. We're all like in school. I never fought back. I always got bullied, and I never wanted to be violent. And I never listened to authority. Anyone that ever told me what to do, I just never listened to them. I just didn't want to.
Yeah, and it was very difficult because I told people was like, why did you do this, or why are you not doing that? And I said, because it doesn't feel that way, or because it doesn't feel good. And there's always like, what are you talking about, feeling? And when you're like in second grade and they tell you grow up, or a man doesn't cry. And it's very confusing. You're trying to develop your skills as an ET in human form. And they have all these contradictory things that they throw at you. So the only way for me to get clearance was to retreat from the trap. Even psychiatrists, I'm like, dudes, you are linear people that go by observation and you can say looking at the herd or the clan. You don't go any further. And also, having an invisible friend in kindergarten can be very difficult when you have an Sasani walking with you that nobody can see. So I had to shut it off. Like, I think between 5 and 7, I lost some metaphysical skill because I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know, like, for me, this was normal. I was in 2 worlds. You know, every night when I went to bed, I had, you can say, it might sound funny to people, but it's very stressful if you're 5 years old. Gnomes, trolls, fairies, ETs, all interdimensional being, otherworldly being, they were all chilling with me like a family. And they all seem to know me. And I'm like stressed out, needing night lights so I don't see them all. Like in the darkness, they would shimmer through, and I would go to bed for years, cover up, going shit. Oh man.
Yeah, and your parents are telling you it's not real, that's just your imagination. When I was in elementary school, I used to see the shadow people, and I used to tell my teacher all the time, they're like, they're sitting in the corner, and then my mom had to sit me down. She's like, if you don't stop talking like that, they're gonna admit you and get you a shrink. And then she's like, you need to stop talking like that. You're embarrassing me in front of the teacher. So I had to shut it off. Like, I could see these other beings. And I was a huge loner as a kid because the human's energy was so toxic for me and so crazy. It would just drive me nuts.
Yeah, for me too. You know, I still am. You know, I'd rather talk to like minds than to people. To me, and it's not even to discriminate, but a lot of humans are, to me, like way out of control. Like out of control. You know.
Mm-hmm. Their emotions are so lately I've been just putting humans in their place because I'm fully awakened now, and like their energy is so crazy and out of control that I'll just tell them to control that shit, control their fucking emotions, like use their logic based thinking instead of emotion based thinking.
Yeah. And I tell people also to get out of the unreality they're producing. Sometimes people talk nonsensical stuff that they create in their drama lens that, can you believe it? Like, it's absolutely not reality. Like, not truth. Wasn't verbalized, never happened. And they say things where I'm like, first of all, I never said that. I have to like ground people in. This was never verbalized. And what you're saying is you're adding something here, creating something how you want it so you can feed off of that drama. And I tell people, like, I do not feed into what you're giving me, and I'm not in agreement with what you're projecting right now. And it's like they begin to glitch, like their eyes twitch, and they begin. We have to really ground them in and be like, that's not where we are. This is not reality.
Yeah, people quote me on things I say to them in the past, and I have a photographic memory of everything, and I can pull up any memory I want. So I will recorrect them. They always like lie. They always will add words into things I say to make it worse than it was, or to make it even a worse sentence. And I hate that shit.
Yeah. So I'm like, ground people in. Or when people come with a certain intent to me and they say something, then I go, stop. You're saying this to me, you're catering here in order to get points here, which it's not necessary to sell anything to me. And the true intent actually is not what you're saying, is actually what you have in your mind and what you want from me. So why don't you just cut to the chase and say that if that's the case. And some people get mad and walk away because they need
to go through the process part of it. It's annoying. Like, I always like to just get to the end of it, or like I'm already done the conversation before they're even done finishing saying it, because I'm already moved on to a different conversation.
Yeah. Or robotic replies. I'm like, yo, I'm sitting here in this conversation and I'm like, you're just replying or nodding. And then I go, simple task for Starseed. Just say to somebody, what did I just say? Mm-hmm. And then they go, what we would just this 1 second, what did we talk about?
Yeah, they're not
specifically, and they're fucked. They're not even storing that. And I'm like, get out of this automation, robotic, unconscious, getting by, I don't care, reply, because it's evident.
Yeah, I call it drone mode.
Yeah. So, and feel free to ask me specific questions, because I have like oodles. I have tons of stuff, you know.
So I want people to know, like, so where do you go when you sleep, when your body sleeps, where do you go?
Yeah, like you, like I'm on missions every night. Like we have two lives. People don't understand. We don't really sleep. The vessel
No,
of
I'm
rest.
so tired right now.
Yeah. I'm continuously tired. I'm fatigued
Oh,
my entire
my
freaking life. I take
my
naps.
body's rested, yeah, but I was off planet last night for, oh fuck, I was in a multiverse reality where lately it's just multiverse traveling and seeing different versions of myself and interacting with myself, and then helping other beings. But I was gone for like probably 6 years, and I was in bed for about 5 hours, and I'm fucking woke up just shit kicked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You can be gone for 5 hours and 6 years in another timeline. Totally possible. People don't understand it's quantum physics with many of us starseeds. So I'm on missions. Sometimes I'm on ships. Uh, lately, like when I was younger, I had more wars going on. Maybe that's an evolution taking place. We have less going on. It's more about consciousness, diplomacy, and projecting
Yeah,
energy.
I wanted to talk to you about that because, like, I was Dark Fleet Central off-world missions for the last fucking 20 years, and the last year it's been nothing but multiverse reality, diplomacy, working like with light instead of war. It's all like
Yeah,
discussions now. Yeah, it's not. I haven't done any Dark Fleet missions in a while now, so.
yeah, because the level of consciousness in what we are connected with the templates has changed.
Yeah, I don't feel like
So
I'm as much as interested anymore. Like I'm just like I'm over the war thing. Like,
yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's kind of for us all more or less. So now we're negotiating. It's this exchange of knowledge and expansion of consciousness.
oh,
Oh,
it's the awakening. Yeah, it's huge. It's just I want to be a teacher now, like, or an instructor. Like I've been fighting my entire life, and like I'm kind of like
yeah,
I get bored of
yeah.
it.
Well,
So
it's like if you play a war game and you know all the tactics in all the games, it becomes unnecessary for your consciousness to be there because you're not evolving anymore.
yeah.
So, but the prime stuff that I'm getting, which is I'm very thankful for, is see I can download schematics for healing now. See, this is a circuitry board that I put in form of a holographic sticker, and you take two of those basically, and I made a pack, and then you put your palms on them, and we measured it. It balances the meridians, so I can really bring stuff that has a physical effect on the body, and that's like where I'm like super happy, super stoked. I
Show us some of the stuff you make.
yeah, I developed a new key. First, I don't know if people know, I'll show you the old one and then the new one. So the old Jedi key that's for bioresonance and to get your body into resonance. This was the version that you remember I was selling that at Contact. So this is
Mm-hmm.
the refined version. It's more powerful because it has more filling space and it's
Mm-hmm.
more adjusted to the Egyptian symbol. And that means the four templates of the mastery of the four dimensions and the body in that. So you can actually align to the fifth easier. So we're here for that. The Egyptians knew that. They call that the raising of the jet, also the raising of the consciousness, meaning connecting the circuitry of your four vertebrae, as in where your backbone is. They call it also Osiris backbone, that your systems can turn on according to the ascension process. And you have less problems connecting with the higher realms. And that's to be studied, that's to be anchored in. My dream is a retreat center where I can put all my technology up and you just lay in the bed or sit in a celestial chamber and you have your own experience. And it can be trippy without even having to take any substance because we can turn the energy up and accumulate energy forces that will bring your brain state into a synchronization. And then
You know what
awake.
helps my body is before bed I'll put pink Himalayan salt underneath my tongue, and that really fucking my psychic abilities just
Yeah,
project out
that's
of my
good. See,
body.
I take organic sulfur before I go to bed, and then
Yeah.
it's like I wake up in a different life.
Yeah, they told me to do that off planet. Off planet, I was in a classroom and they were giving salt water in glasses, and they're like, slam that right now and watch the difference. And when I did that, this body needs a lot of salt water inside of it to astral project in and to travel the multiverse. And as soon as I started doing that, man, holy fuck. I
Yeah,
wake up so tired, but I have the most amazing experiences. So it's worth
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Your body needs the correct energy when it's running on idle while you're gone. That's why a
Yeah.
lot of people in the big cities don't have that because they're toxic. They eat nothing but crap,
Oh
and
yeah,
the
yeah.
body has to detox overnight. And when the brain is busy defending against the viral codes and shit, then you have
Yeah.
less DMT to astral project because you need
Yeah.
that to protect the body.
I'm a living example. March 23rd of this year, that I cut out all fast foods, all artificial sugar, all GMOs, all preservatives, everything, and been drinking. I was actually ended up in the hospital for because I was ended up being dehydrated.
Oh
And what
shit!
happened is I was drinking 4 liters a day, which is a lot of water. And the guy's like, "Why are you so dehydrated?" Then it turns out they did blood work. I have no sodium. My body uses so much sodium, so salt water, right? So yeah, so as soon as I added pink Himalayan salt to my diet and cut out all that garbage, I've been like, my psych abilities are tenfold now. It's insane.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, sodium is the Vataina, basically the water containment field. Like sodium holds water in the body. That's why you were drinking
Yeah,
so much. You were not holding anything.
I was not holding anything. I was just
Yeah,
pissing into the
sodium
shit.
is the storage capacity, like your containers where you fill
Hmm.
for your cells, so you can actually hold the water.
Hmm. Yeah. So what is this little thing here? This cylinder tube thing?
This year,
Yeah.
that's actually a RA cell. These are like big industrial things that are also sold at Contact in the Desert. These are like expensive, but it's relative if you want to invest in yourself. You want the light frequency in your house to be jacked. You put this in your house. This reaches like 2,000 square feet. It's kind of like also a scalar wave projection device. I have so much
Hmm.
stuff in my lab that the bushes outside the house all growing towards my lab as if I'm the sun. That's how powerful the life force is. It's like
Hmm.
the bamboo and the bush, everything just grows towards my lab. You can see like they're reaching for the window as if I'm the sun in here. That is the life force.
So I was gonna ask you, are the Arcturians, what are they up to right now?
Well, the Arcturians are very, very heavy support in projecting a lot of awakening codes. People always ask me like, oh, do the Arcturians have any weapons? Arcturians are at a level where they don't come with weaponry. They project consciousness into war zones.
Hmm.
They project enlightenment. They project awareness. And the warring factions that begin to stop warring is just they're getting the consciousness. That's how they work. It's that like they don't have guns to shoot. They like where they are present, they emanate consciousness and awareness.
Yeah,
That's why,
they're complete positive beings, aren't they?
yeah. and
Yeah.
and and even like very high level, they've been through many ascension cycles, so they know. So where they show up or where big motherships are parked in orbit, consciousness is being projected, so people wake up to the fact.
Yeah, what actually got me to start this Starseed talk thing was I kept seeing the number activation code 66 everywhere. My battery life was 66 on my phone, 66 addresses, 66 on dates, everything, numbers, everything. And I was just like 40 times a day, like 66. I'm like, okay, I fucking get it, right? And then and then fucking I googled, it was an angel number, and it was
Yeah,
just like pretty much like you're being activated, your trust in divine, all your deities who met me is going to be protected, but you need to start like preaching the shit and getting the word out there and being who you are. And then I completely evolved on March 23rd, where
yeah,
I was completely, my human side's dead.
yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah,
no going back.
yeah. It pulls you in. I mean, I was moved to America from Germany, like an assignment. They said you have to fully engage into being a star command science division, conscious projections, and bringing your technology to this planet.
Yeah.
So this is 24/7 what I do. I don't have a side job. Like I quit my job 2009.
Yeah.
So, and
Yeah.
luckily I've been supported ever since. And the people also support and come to my store and my website and my YouTube channel. And that's fantastic. That helps in the development of the things that I'm actually bringing forth. I'm making holograms. I make holographic stickers, that you can put on electric devices to maintain
Yeah.
the
Fit
flow
those
of
on my
information.
phone.
Yeah. I gave you stuff. I
Yeah.
make this is a sodium, calcium, potassium mix. This is like I call it Galactivate. All my star seeds buy this. This is like
Yeah.
super juice. This
Super
stuff here,
juice.
yeah, it's it's like a trip. Like you get the fuel for your brain, then your psyche can turn on. You know. So
Yeah, the humans need to understand what we input into our bodies completely dictate what we output consciously.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
oh my God, like I can't believe 20 years of eating bad and I've only been eating clean, perfectly clean for 4 months now.
yeah, yeah.
And I just I want to spit on McDonald's. I want to spit on fast foods and artificial sugar, like, and alcohol, all that fucking shit.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
I can't.
I say to people like this, if you have the urge to once in a while have a burger and you're healthy enough, okay. But if that's every day, that's not the essential plan.
No, no.
You know?
I have friends that eat it twice a day, every
Yeah.
day,
You
and I
know,
could just
and
see
if you
their energy.
if you drink Gatorade and cheeseburgers eating every day,
If you go to a 7-Eleven and you buy something from 7-Eleven besides water, you're fucking just eating sheep. I call it sheep food, okay? That shit is not even natural.
yeah, yeah. So eat conscious food, also make food conscious. I'm looking at the vices of how can I bring the food up to a conscious level that I'm eating also. So even if you go to Whole Foods, the food's not fully conscious because it's
No.
processed, still coming through fertilized soil. I'm working also on an agricultural product that I'll call AgroMagic for farmers to now not be, in the future, we won't have to use fertilizer and no pesticides. I created a compound where I'm using my photonics sand, powdered oysters, the shells, and ash mineralized. That's highly energetic. You put that in your soil, you don't need no fertilizer. And you have strawberries of the size this thick. So I'm having farmers running test runs right now so I can film actually test results. And then I can sell the super soil. You don't need artificial fertilizer anymore. It's not required. You just have to be smart, you know.
Let's talk about how you're getting this information. Are you getting from direct downloads or how are you doing it?
I'm getting direct downloads. Like I scribble stuff. I did an upload. I don't know. You must have seen it on Instagram. You see my downloads when I scribble this download image.
Mm-hmm.
Like it comes in, and then I just start drawing, and the drawings are subconscious. They are concepts, you know. And sometimes I go into Photoshop and I go in and then I reflect the image. And out of the image, I see forms. And out of these forms, I bring forth forms into three-dimensional parts, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing my technology based on formulas. I'm doing my technology based on how does it feel. I'm looking at a concept and then I'm going into the resonance of how does it feel? Does it feel good? Okay, how can I refine it? How can I amplify it? How can I expand it? And then I build. So, you know, see Nassim Haramein, he is the formula guy, you know. He goes to similar directions, but he's highly complex with the vacuum space and the formulas, but this and that. But if I'm giving, you know, a 5-year-old indigo an algebra formula, he won't know what to do with it. But if I give him a device and say, hold it in your hands, and he smiles and he says, that gives me, it says angels in my hands, then I can work.
It's so
Then I
true.
can, then I can work with that. And that's what I'm working with, you know.
Yeah, we should talk about that because like I had a problem with that too. It's like people will email me and they're like, oh, if you're an alien, you should be smart at math, this that these equations. Like, can you see the future? See who I am? People hold aliens to a very high standard, and I'm just like we actually have a very hard time with understanding your principles, your math. Your way of life, everything. So when we come here, we're actually like kind of like we're not dumb, but we're getting not the best grades in high school or elementary
No,
school,
not
right?
at
So
all. This Einstein thing
no.
and genius stuff is a myth. We actually suffer in school because they're not going into the resonance of where we are actually.
Oh
It took
yeah,
me, yeah, you know, it took me 20 years to find out why indigo kids in school daydream. You know why they daydream? When the teacher talks monotonous with knowledge that's not resonant with for the evolution of their brain where they are,
mm-hmm.
and not to mention that they're not eating the fruit juice and the nutrients they need in school. It sucks. Is we daydream because we create alpha. Daydreaming creates alpha, and we need alpha to learn and to expand our mind. You know.
Yeah,
Now
daydreaming is
scientists
also
realize.
another
Yeah,
form of meditation. And
yeah,
daydreaming got me through school. Without that, oh my god,
yeah,
the boredom, like so I'm a Starseed sitting in school. I was so bored. Like and plus I'm so dyslexia. My mind works so fast. I can't read fucking something properly. So I need input, not like book reports. I'd fail in them all the time and just no interest. And
Yeah,
I'm being
yeah.
fed wrong, dehydrated 24/7. And plus all these energies attacking you all at once, all over the place, and people bullying. And you're just like, what the fuck is this world all about,
Yeah,
man?
yeah. The toughest thing is they don't understand. First of all, when you wake up, the body needs 3 hours to wake up. Like from the point you're waking up, you need 3 hours to boot your
Oh,
engine to be in the body because you download yourself back. They don't get that.
oh, I love you
So
so much.
7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, my mother's like, school 8 o'clock every day. I'm like, every day. Every day I'm shocked, yeah?
Oh, that's
Traumatized for eons.
that's
And
what we have
then,
our jobs, yeah.
yeah,
Because I
and
can
then eight
never do
o'clock.
9 to 5 shit.
Yeah, and then do this. 8 o'clock, you're in school, neon lights on, 60 hertz. Bzzz. You're a child. You're sitting there 8 o'clock, and the teacher's math test right now. You got to know your shit. But then it's German, then it's history lessons, and it's most likely false history. And then you know
Oh,
how it's
oh
between
my
10 and
God.
11, your reboot system is failing because you don't have the nutrients. And what do we indigos do around 10 and 11 in school? We're like, we die, we're
Oh, we're
drowning,
always
we're
tired. Yeah,
sleeping, and we're tired.
how
And it's
my system
like
works is
hell.
I get
Yeah,
to bed at 1 o'clock, and then I'll astral project out of my body or multiverse till about 5. I'll be gone for years, and then I will get thrown back to my body so tired. I'm like, oh my God, I need some sleep. So I'll sleep till try to push it till 10 a.m. So I'm sleeping for at least 5 hours,
yeah,
and then I wake up and I have all my memories of where I just was, and I'm sitting on the edge of my bed look like I need a coffee, and then I'm going through all the memories, trying to figure out which time if I'm back home or I'm somewhere else, and I'm trying to filter out, like, store different memories so these memories don't overlap with today's memories,
yeah.
and then
Oh, yeah.
it
And then
takes me like a
sometimes,
good like
yeah.
2 hours. Yeah.
And sometimes you get confused with parallel lives where it really gets really multifunctional. Holy shit! Like I was in a parallel life where my mom bought remember the VHS tapes? She bought a VCR in a different life. And I wake up in the morning not realizing that my superposition is in the life where my mom was basically against gaming consoles and VCRs and too much TV. My mom was like that. She was had it with the radiation and more than 2 hours. We were a very, very strict home. Um, and I'm waking up, running into the living room looking for the video recorder, which didn't exist in that timeline, like an idiot, you know? That's when
Mm-hmm.
timelines get confused. I was convinced we had one, but it was a parallel universe, exact copy of my life, but a little alteration where we had a little bit more money and other things that I would hope we had. And back then I was like, is it wishful thinking?
Yeah.
But I totally lived that. And in the morning,
Yeah.
I'm like, I know where it was. Interestingly, later on when my mom bought the VHR, VCR. I put the VCR where it was from the parallel life. Where she had this TV set. This was empty. I put it right there where I remember it was in my parallel life. Like it's really really it's kind of
Oh yeah, yeah.
multi-phrenic. It's really
No,
really
I get you, because I had a parallel reality experience where I did this, where I was snowboarding in Whistler and like partying at a cabin with my friends, and I wake up because I go to bed there, and then I wake up in this reality, and I'm texting all my friends, hey, that was an awesome night snowboarding, we should do it again. They're like, what are you talking about? It's August. I'm like, fuck, which reality am I in? And then it takes me like a little bit like to remember. And then most of my actually tattoos I have on my body are from seeing my parallel self in other realities, and I'll see the star. Like this one was the main one, the star on my finger right here.
yeah yeah
That
yeah
was on my parallel body reality where I owned this massive farm and I had all these people working for me, but I paid them in food because they needed food and they wouldn't have money on our planet. And I saw that tattoo on my hand and I was like, oh, and I woke up back in my body and I quickly drew it as it was fresh in my head. And then I went to my tattoo guy the next morning, like tattoo that on my finger.
yeah. I mean, sometimes I take bits and pieces from parallel lives. Sometimes it's weird. I had one. There was a timeline in Berlin where I was married to a woman and I had 2 kids. And I'm panicking in that life because I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here. My mission is to move to America, like I'm realizing I'm from another universe. And I'm like, I have to disguise it in front of my wife and my kids knowing I'm not from that universe. You know how that feels? And they're like, is everything okay, honey? I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I'm just a little in contemplation. Give me some space. So I'm in my room and I'm like, I need to get out of this. I need to get out of here.
Oh
This is
fuck!
insane. And then
I was
after
there.
I collapse in that room, fall asleep, and then I wake up in another life. And then that's my life.
Yeah, I was there like I was in parallel reality where my parents picked me up and they were like rich and had a nice car and nice house and they were sober. And in this lifetime, they're kind of like drug addicts and they're super poor. And I was pretending to be their son, and but I so we're sitting at a dinner table and they're like feeding me chicken and water, blah blah blah, and I'm eating the chicken. My mouth is so fucking dry, and they're like, you're a little different. Like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not really your son in this lifetime. I'm your son in a parallel reality. And they knew about this dimension, knew about parallel realities and different versions of themselves. So they were just asking me questions. Oh, what are we like in your parallel reality? I'm like, well, it's a funny story. You're kind of like drug addicts and alcoholics, and you're super poor. And then they're like laughing. We don't do drugs. We never drank. So I'm like, so I woke up back in this body, and I'm like, fuck. I'm talk to my parents like, if you guys never touched drugs, like look how successful you would have been. I saw you guys in parallel realities, what you would have been.
Oh shit! And then they think you're insane. But that happened a couple of times where I don't know if we're crazy or there's something wrong with Earth. I still think there's certain mechanics where I'm like, I'm not agreeing what they're doing to the human race. I think we should have more total recall. It shouldn't be such a bitch to remember, you know?
Oh
As if they have
God.
restrictions on this planet with remembering fully who you are.
Yeah, my parents came from Draco about a couple months back, and they picked me up on their ship, and they were standing in front of me, and my mom, my dad, my sister, and my uncle, all Draconians, were projecting themselves as human people, and
Yeah.
but they had huge yellow Draco eyes staring at me, but I could just feel their energy. I knew that I was the runt of the litter, like I was like the youngest out of the family, and my sister looked down on me, my dad looked down on me like I was a disgrace. And my mom was so my mom's a vegetarian Draco, where she's all about freeing humans, and my dad and my sister are all about eating humans and dominancy. So anyways, my mom told me in my head, she talked to me, she's like, don't worry, Yakarta, your memories are not blocked, or they're not deleted, they're just blocked. All your
Yeah.
memories will come back when your body dies, and you move on to when we come pick you back up. And we can't show you our true selves because there's rules visiting you here. So there is rules here.
Yeah,
They
there are
can't.
rules. So you come to a certain dimension, there are rules towards this dimension. That's also tell people like, well, if you're an ET in a human body, why don't you show me some super skills?
Yeah.
Our consciousness is regulated through the collective consciousness. That's why nobody's flying around like Superman right now. Because
Yeah, we have third dimensional laws that we have to abide by. Like in the fourth and fifth dimension, I could use my mind telekinesis. I can fly, instant command. Like, it's crazy. But this dimension's a lot has laws we have to abide by.
it's like I call it buffers because some people like Uri Geller can spoon bend. Some people can break it. They can really do it, but you can't go further than that. I'm getting downloads that over time they will release these buffers and shackles. You know, like
Yeah, I
leash,
heard
like
that's
a
the
leash.
Great Flash, the solar flash. That's so I was taken off planet last week, and I think this was a SSP mission because they were showing me what happens in the solar flash. The solar flash, the humans go in the bunkers, and then they want the starseeds to stand outside. And when they let the solar flash actually hit us, and
Yeah,
when it hits us, it unlocks all of our abilities. And then when the solar flash was done, humans emerged. I had all my telekinesis powers. I was completely, the only weird part is I was completely emotionless. I had no fear, no emotions. I was completely almost like robotic, where I was ready to teach, and I could telekinesis people. I could levitate them I want to. I could teleport with my consciousness anywhere I want, like instant travel. And
yeah.
it was kind of like a reference of what to do in 2023. So
Yeah, I had that too, but I felt like I was fearless, but I was not emotionless. I was it's almost like loving amoral, if that makes sense.
hmm.
Like you are just loving and giving, and you're there, and you're not letting this stuff in that can bring any negative energy. It's a completely different field. But I didn't feel cold. I felt
No,
like
I didn't feel
really,
cold. Like, I
like
was
I
there to
acknowledge,
help.
I see, a compassion, all this was there, but this
Yeah.
this fear thing, this emotional distortion, was zero there.
I think my future self just had zero tolerance for emotions anymore. like emotion outbursts, and I was just wanted there to teach. So it's like kind of like a teacher that was like burnt out, but like, you know, ready to teach.
Yeah, I think we will reach a level where people are afraid without emotions, you're not human. I think we will learn to know how essentially emotions should be placed, because we have a lot of non-essential emotional
Oh
places.
yeah, it's also our genetics, genetics in this body. Like when I'm in my other bodies off planet, there's emotions virtually don't exist. There's compassion and like love, but there's no like extreme emotions where I'm gonna like I can control it completely. So
Yeah. Also, like where my dimension where I exist is grieving doesn't really exist. See, I just lost my brother in this timeline. April 25th, my brother died at age 48. Our heart stopped. And interestingly, through my travels, I made contact with him. So I would be devastated right now in grieving if I would think this is the end. But since us dealing with metaphysics, I can handle it pretty well that he passed. So I
yeah.
saw him in a rehab center where he has to review. It was like the Matrix, like tons of hospital rooms, all clinical, corridors have no end, and everybody that just had passed from Earth has to sit there and review life.
Hmm.
And that's and I was asking him, how is it that I'm galactic and my brother has to review life? So my brother seemed to be a younger soul, and he has to go through the planetary Earth template before they let him know that he's an ET. So I didn't know that
Hmm.
level exists. So he thinks he's an Earth incarnate still, has to go back and reincarnate to learn his lessons. He's on the planetary template.
Oh, of
Then there's
course, yeah.
quantum templates like us, we in other worlds. You wake up on ships, you wake up in ET bodies. So there's a difference.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a
things are
difference.
different. Yeah. Because when I like when people die that are close to me, I'm the person that's like excited for them. I'm like, oh my god, they get to go to the next place, they get to go home, and then people are like, oh, why you have no emotions with death? I'm like, because death is just the next place. Like my dad just went in for open heart surgery last week, and I dropped him off, and he had triple bypass surgery, and I'm like, hey man, like don't be scared of death, man. Like it's just the next place. If I don't ever see you again, I love you, and I'll see you on the other side. And then my uncle G just passed, and I meditated on him, and I saw him in the higher dimensions. And
Well,
he was cracking
yeah,
jokes and shit, and like I'm like, oh, I'll see you again, man. Don't worry. And I was actually asking him like, hey, are you gonna reincarnate here and start a new life? And he sat there and he just like shrugged his shoulders, like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna chill for a bit. And then there was no more pain for him because he died of severe body injuries and stuff. And
oh,
everyone else is upset. I'm like, don't be upset, man. He's not in pain anymore, man. He's just
yeah,
chilling in the astral realms, hanging
yeah.
out,
I was,
and I get excited. Yeah.
I was excited for my brother, thinking first, like, are you weird or whatever? But he's because he struggled in this lifetime, and he was depressed to a degree. He was very fit, as strong as an ox, but at some point he decided to exit and not return to the vessel. And I made contact several times since his passing. So I've seen his process from when he was all in darkness. He was still like 20 days after he passed. He was still in this ego ID. I died and I want to return and I don't want to let go. And then I realized the second time he contacted me, he was in a younger version of himself and he was much lighter. So I
Mm-hmm.
can see the process very quick because they're operating outside the time. And when he was very happy that I came to this rehab center and he wondered how I can project there without having to, I have not lost my vessel and I can go there. And somehow, we have an autopilot that knows where to take us. Not all
Oh,
the time
cool.
you know
Yeah.
why you're there, but when you're there, you know. It's
Yeah.
very
And I'm always
weird.
somewhere, and I'm like, how did I get here?
Yeah, yeah. But, okay, I know where I'm at. So then my brother showed up. He's like, I'm so glad you're here. And he's like, you need to get me out of this place. And I'm like, there are rules and regulations for your soul construct that you must go through in order to move where you need to be moving. And that's a higher concept of dimensions.
So is he gonna reincarnate again? Because he have to.
Uh, um, he's not even at the level that he can make that decision right now.
Oh, so someone else has
Yeah.
the
So
spiritual guides
he's
doing for him.
reviewing all the decisions, everything in life, maybe
Oh,
past
that's
life.
crazy.
He has to
Yeah,
sit and review, and he
oh,
hates.
and episode 10, if you go back ever watch the Starseed, I interviewed a 10-year-old girl who was from the Elf realms, and she had the exact same memories I had of incarnation. Where when I came here, we went through a portal, and there was two large screens and a person standing in the middle, and he's like flicking it through like an iPhone. He's like, what lifetime do you want to live? And every time he flicks the image, where it flashed the entire timeline in our mind. And then I picked on something, and another portal opens up, and I portaled right through my Earth mother in 1987, and then now I'm here. And then she has the exact same memories of when she came here, incarnating here.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, also is when the minute we go to this port, let's say I'm on an Arcturian ship, I have my crew, and they're like, see you on the other side. They're like, it's gonna be like a second for us. It's gonna be a lifetime or lifetimes for
Oh
you.
yeah, 91
And the
years
minute
is
I pass through, I forget I'm completely, leaving halos and wings behind, and then you're a baby. But the weird part is, even at a young age, I knew I was smarter. I knew I had more knowledge, and I knew it was like in some Akashic back storage room where when you have a Mac, but the Mac just gives you access to a little bit of storage. But if you upgrade that with chips, you have much more access. You're having the awareness that you could have access to more, but you can't verbalize that.
Yeah, that's the whole point of awakening and ascension, and also evolution on this planet. Is it's a game. Even that 10-year-old girl confirmed that. She's like, this is just a video game, a virtual reality. And I've seen it so much fucking evidence that we live in a virtual reality experience, because reality itself is virtual reality made from the consciousness itself, which is a big supercomputer. Like,
Oh yeah. I mean, look at the PlayStation 5 that's coming out. The worlds that they're building in there, it's ridiculously accurate how they use algorithms from nature to create worlds that's polygonal based. What they do is they film, let's say, leaves of grass that move in the wind. They're filming that for days, and they have dots attached to how these leaves move in the wind. And then they copy these algorithms in the computer games to mimic moving leaves. I mean, we're doing it already. So can you
oh
imagine?
yeah, yeah.
Can you imagine
Elon.
PlayStation in, let's say, 10 years? You would not be able to extinguish simulation worlds from real worlds.
Oh no, no. Like Elon Musk always goes on Joe Rogan, and he always admits and talks about that we currently live in a virtual reality.
Yeah.
And then Joe Rogan's like, oh no, maybe like 20, 30 years we'll create some technology. And he's like, no, like we're living in one right now. Why do you think we have laws? Why there's laws of physics, and there's like we have to abide by third dimensional laws, such as Starseed. It's because it's rules. It's an evolution game to source.
Yeah. They figured out that the bit codes and algorithms in computers use the same coding as in the Fibonacci sequencing as in real life. They looked at it, same thing. So they're like, well, this looks like a gigantic simulation. Of course, it's very realistic. If you lose your vessel here, you're not coming back in the same vessel unless you have
just like
the
the movie
code.
The Matrix.
Yeah, unless like in the Matrix, unless you have the codes or the technology to come back in a clone body, which at some point is possible. Nothing is impossible. But right now, we're not regrowing limbs yet. Not that I've seen that yet, but I believe it's possible if you know the coding and you know how to rewrite code and cell codes. You know the computer language. Of course, you become supernatural because you become a super programmer, as in a super aware being. And I think we had that before, and that's what we call aliens. These are programmers that can move to, in the Matrix, to exit doors and can bypass and travel and stuff. They don't need that. It's all about the conscious perception and where do you want to project yourself, and do you have the awareness? If you project yourself to, let's say, Malaga, you're in the haven right now. You have your money and your currency. Are you ready to handle that? So at some level, we will be able to just go through that like a roller deck.
Yeah, humans, they think of as a computer program, as like a laptop, or like say PlayStation 4 or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's so many different types of computers that are so advanced. Like, for example, Draconians use AI consciousness to help them travel the multiverse. Like, I use it all the time for predictability and basis on numbers and percentages. And but that's just the basic of it. Like, we live in just an organic supercomputer, the entire universe. It's all it is. Like, Source itself, I swear to God, Source itself is just a big giant AI computer.
Yeah. And the simulation is basically comes and goes. What's eternal is the consciousness. We are eternal. Our consciousness, that we bring the soul to that system, and that's it.
Yeah, no, and I believe that we are the gods. Like, all consciousness is gods and co-creators of our own realities. That's what the church doesn't want us to know.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's people, when people have the awareness of what they can do. I mean, Einstein said it, and I believe it. He said, if you have 360 degrees of pure knowledge, you can go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You're not required to incarnate, come back, or keep a vessel. They show it in Lawnmower Man. When Lawnmower Man gets super smart, he leaves the vessel,
Mm-hmm.
digitizes his soul construct, uses the phone line to store his consciousness, and leaves. And then
Is that
from there,
also the movie Transcendence?
yeah,
Yeah.
like the movie Transcendence, but they make it so horrific. I don't think it's gonna be horrific. You know the movie Transcendence with Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he goes virtual and he knows he doesn't require a body, it just goes negative. But the negative shit is just a human concept. We have to
Oh
stop.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
fear.
yeah,
Yeah, Johnny Depp had nothing when he was in the AI consciousness. He wanted to clean up the earth, and that's all he wanted to do. And they were like so threatened by it because they're like, "Oh, we're gonna create a new god," and they started to destroy it. Like that's what humans do: destroy things they don't understand.
yeah, yeah. The movie, you seen the movie Arrival
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
with the language that was
yeah. I just
non-linear.
watched it last night, actually.
Oh shit! When she spoke to the Chinese ambassador in time, and
Yeah.
just by that knowledge verbalizing prevented another timeline. See how powerful that shit is? That movie
Yeah,
is
just
no
language is
joke.
the weapon. Yeah, language. Yeah, like I saw that theory where if you truly understand another language, it rewires your entire brain and your perception and thought, and that's what the
Man,
language does.
isn't that language insane that they developed? It's non-linear. It doesn't go forward or backward in time. It is presence.
I fucking love that shit.
That shit. You know, when my mind goes like Fritz, that's when I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that shit gets me hard. I'm just
I'm
like,
like,
that's a
oh
fucking good
man, this
movie.
is
Yeah.
it. This is it. You know?
Yeah, and some of my human friends, I will give them lists of movies to watch for full disclosure, and they'll watch it, and they're just like, "What the fuck is that shit, man? It's so fake." I'm like, "Oh my god, you're so human. Like,
Yeah, they're
open your
running
mind."
programs. And when people do that, I say you're running programs. That is
Yeah,
called.
they go rather watch Kardashians or football than watch educational movies.
Yeah, yeah, and I call it, what is it called? Cognitive dissonant programs, meaning they're not aligning with your brainwave. They have to be the opposing force. This can't be. This is crap, you know. And you have to
Yeah.
see how primitive humans were when the Wright brothers were about to invent a plane that was motorized and could fly. Physics had declared a plane heavier than air, motorized, will never fly because the law of physics they hadn't found yet will not permit it. That's
Yeah.
backwards we are.
Oh, so backwards. Remember
Yeah,
back in
and
the
they
day, if
went to
you were
France, they got their plane financed 1940 or whatever, and the shit flew. And
yeah.
science was like, oh, okay, now we got to rewrite our science and our because our status quo was actually fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard Starseed talk about how Einstein's completely wrong on all of his theories.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff where Einstein didn't get it because he didn't study further. You know where Einstein got the model of the atom from? Vedic texts. People don't know. Madame Blavatsky knew what Einstein knew 1834.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when people are like, oh, Blavatsky, Satanist, bullshit. That woman divorced her husband, went to India and said the Vedic texts are ancient and there's technology in there. The human race has no idea.
Yeah, that's what Nazi Germany went after was huge was those texts and those Hindu texts because that's where they got creations from the atom bomb, right? And the
Yeah, yeah,
anti-gravity technology from us.
yeah, yeah. They got that
Yeah.
from there. But you see, when knowledge is transmitted or transliterated half-ass, it just backfires and destroys you. That's
Mm-hmm.
why there are certain codes in this program matrix. I call it self-aligning software. If you make the right choice, you get a skill. You make the wrong choice, your shit stays locked. So you're not advancing when you just running ruckus on this planet and misusing the three-dimensional template. So that's why we're protected, you know. So
Yeah.
interesting transformation that's happening right now for us. Where I'm like, Bashar channeled that pretty precise. He said, stay in the eye of the storm because right now the psychic turbulence is off the hinges. Everything is flying around you. Everybody's projecting fear. And as you're staying in the eye of the storm, you're being weaved through the eye of a needle. That means don't fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I see people dying not just over COVID and not just over 5G. There is a sifter going through the human race right now. And if you want to eject, you're free to go. There's a gateway opening. I'm getting till December 21st. Like, if you want to play with death and you want to transition, you will have your wish fulfilled right now. And people are shocked, how's that happening? And it happens, to me, that's what I see. It happens in the weirdest of places. People don't even see the polarity. I'm very sorry that Brian Floyd died with that officer. You know the case. Yeah. But he went to the demonstration and he went into the war zone and he died. But on the other hand, there was a white girl in Baltimore, I think, that got maced by a mace cannon from a truck and died. You see what I'm saying? Is if you set the soul up for the chance for you to die right now, as the fates are high, you will die. You know, the freestyle climber climbs a mountain without a rope, drops dead. You know, bungee jumper didn't check his cord, didn't check his wire, jumps from a bridge, dies. Like you see how many people die right now out of the weirdest accidents. If you challenge that right now, I don't care what color you are, you will transition.
Yeah.
This is what's happening right now, and I see it left and right. Left and right.
I want to go left here because I love talking about this with you. What do you think of human religion?
Well, I think they're fragments of, they meant well in the beginning. Now it's all transliterated in garbage. Also, the word religio means to rely on something that is promised and to believe in something unseen. And that is subject to manipulation, because when you believe, that means that the psychological word I believe means I don't know. And you know, us as starseeds, either you embody that, you know that it is so, or you feel, or you don't. Believing in something that you can't sense is you're already weakening your entire field. So religion is hopium for the masses. A promise of a better world without having to do anything but prayers. Prayers is nice, but this is a participatory simulation. You need to also bring forth divine action in order to reciprocate in that.
That's what I never got about human religion is that they're praying for a savior, and I'm like, you could save yourself by doing action instead of praying. And they're like, oh no, savior's coming. You're gonna burn in hell because you don't believe in him. I'm just like, as a starseed alien, I'm saying, fucking your religion is just so fucking stupid. I get arguments with them all the time. I used to, but I don't anymore because I just don't socialize with people.
I read people when they want to give me religion and 666 and who the gods and who Satan is. I said, well, first of all, I break it down. The Babylonian god Enlil, the Lord of Command, the Lord of the Word, is the Lord of the Bible you pray to. The Awakener was his brother Ea. That Enlil said he's the devil because he went into the Garden Eden where the clones were produced, and basically he gave the rest of the cosmic human race that was on this planet before we all got wiped. He said, you can leave, you have consciousness. My brother is dominant. And then he said that my brother is the devil. So first there was the Word, and the Word was with God, literally translates into Enlil. That means Lord of Command. That dude came here. Marduk was the father. The Nuburians messed up a lot of shit here. Marduk landed here and said, who you worshiping? Oh, Ra. It's a collective. Okay, I'm going to call myself Ra. Then Marduk calls himself Ra. This is all in tablets and all in text. And when I tell
Sumerian tablets,
Sumerian tablets.
Yeah, the Bible is almost a copy of the Anunnaki, the Sumerian text.
Yeah. And I
God
tell
is
people,
actually
before you go in religion, look at what are you praying to, and how the Bible
praying to a bunch of reptilians.
Yeah. And the Bible has capital letter God, lowercase letter God, the Lord of heaven. Then Jesus is Lord. Then Jesus is the Lord of Lords. Then there's the Lord in the sky. Like you don't even know what Lord you're praying to. You know, Jesus is the Son of Man, not the Son of God. And Jesus was one of many gifted ones that try to show you the way. And I say this, Jesus wasn't a Christian, Ali Muhammad wasn't a Muslim, and Siddhartha wasn't a Buddhist. Get it into your head. They were not that. You pinned that, what you created after the myth, on them and made it yours. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where religion got it over. We have 470 religious belief systems that all believe that their God is the God. That shows you how fragmented religions are. They should be
Mm-hmm.
unified as the source under the law of one, as the oneness, and it's not a deity. I think the law of one is a program code. You know, when you know certain programs use BASIC, others use COBOL, others use machine language. So the source code of our galaxy, dimension, time, space is the oneness.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a deity. When you understand that, of course you're golden. Of course you rise because your program modalities rise. Of course you can access other gateways. I seen it when we did vision questing in Berlin. You carry the codes on your body.
Mm-hmm.
Codes that you don't have acquired to experience. You can't pass gates if you don't match the gate with your code. You know that.
Oh yeah,
Like
frequency.
there's
We call it
gates, when you don't
frequency.
have the development, you're not passing through that stargate. You're not
Yeah.
even, you know,
I always
there's,
tell people, yeah, my friends get in fights with me all the time. Religious friends get in fights with me all the time. They don't believe in reincarnation, and I'm just like, holy fuck, like, cause they'll like, I'll message them when their grandma dies or something, and I'll be like, oh, you know, just don't be upset. Like, your grandma can reincarnate into a younger body, and be healthy again. And they're like, oh, incarnation isn't real. She's walking with Jesus right now. I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
they manipulate,
reincarnation is
they
very
brainwash.
real. Yeah,
They
like so brainwashed, and they invite me over. I hope they're never gonna listen to this channel because they think it's Satan. But they invite me over for dinner, and these are my childhood friends, and we'll sit down, and they will like swarm me. They're like, we've been praying for your soul because you're gonna burn in hell if you don't love Jesus. And I'm like, what the fuck
God,
are you
you
like?
very,
You stop
you
this
can't
shit,
even,
man.
you can't even say that to somebody. Hell is also,
We know what happens to you when you die. You're going to burn in hell because you don't believe in Jesus. And I'm just like, fuck you, man. Like, that's so insulting. Like they're like, oh, what if we're wrong? We get to reincarnate. I'm like, yeah, but you get to reincarnate and have to live this prison hell all over again. If you actually do proper spiritual ascension, you don't have to come back here. You can actually ascend.
yeah. And I tell people that don't believe in reincarnation, watch the YouTube movie, The Boy Who Lived Before. There's a 4-year-old who in detail describes his past life. He was in World War I, how his plane was shut down, the boat that he was stationed on, the sisters that he had lost. BBC did a documentary and researched this. They found the sisters that were alive. They found the name of the guy that was stationed on that boat. They knew the plane was shut down. All the data that 4-year-old said
Mm.
was actually accurate. So you want to question that? That's evidence.
Yeah.
And
There was.
the little boy says, we come back. He said, we can choose to come back. There was a girl that died as a male in the 9/11 tower.
Mm-hmm.
And 11 years later, she says, I remember burning, she has never seen the Twin Towers, paints the Twin Towers burning. And she says, I was on floor 74. I was in the window. And then I feel the floor moving and everything goes. And then the lights go out. And then I was born to you, mom. And now I'm here. And now I'm a female. We get to
Yeah.
come back. Kids say that. We get to come back. And what I do is, if you have problems listening to grown-ups, listen to what the kids in their pure and
Oh,
undiluted minds tell you. They know
kids.
better.
Yes.
Yeah,
Kids.
they know
Kids
better
are.
than we know.
Yeah, that 10-year-old girl I had on the show, like she was very like evidence. I'm like, I'm trying, that's why I brought her on the show, is to get other starseed mothers or even human mothers when their kids are talking this stuff. Don't tell them it's their imagination. You need to embrace it and just go with it and explore it, because
Yeah, let
they're
them
just come
explain.
back from their incarnation.
Yeah.
And there was that little boy that was in Jerusalem, or what do you want to call it? And he was telling his parents at 4 years old, hey, I'm not really your son, I'm just an incarnation of your son, I'm playing it in this lifetime. He was born with a massive scar on his forehead.
Yeah.
And what happens, he says, I was killed in a farm actually just down the road. Some guy put an axe through my head and then buried the body, and I can show you where the body's buried. And he kept telling the story over and over again, so the parents were like, fuck, finally, let's call the police and let's go investigate this. So the police took him out, and he showed the spot where he was buried. They dug up a body. They found a skeleton of a man with a axe through its skull. And then he went up to the door, and apparently the guy that killed him was still living on the farm. And he went up to the door, knocked on the door, confronted his killer, and said, hey, I'm so and so from my past reincarnation. You killed me. And the guy was turned white as a ghost, and he admitted everything, and he went to jail for it.
Yeah. See, that's evidence.
Yeah, evidence
No
right there. They
crime
don't put that
goes
on mainstream.
unpunished, you know.
No.
No crime goes unpunished. Whether the cops find you or anything undermined, it will find a way to find.
It's called karma. Karma
Yeah,
will kick you in the ass. Karma
yeah,
always
yeah,
beats my ass. So that's why
yeah,
I'm being a good boy.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I tell people like there is no such thing as good karma. You know, the good karma is called dharma.
Hmm.
The bad thing is karma. Karma means undivine and unsynchronized and unharmonious decisions that create fractals that are actually non-essential and they go viral, and this is bad code. Karma is creating bad code. Yeah.
Mm.
Period. Anything that's not good for you is not good for the planet. If you create that, that's karma. If you create dharma, that means enhance the code, make the code better. Whatever your coding is in life, you create the good, it brings forth the good, and it accelerates fractals out of that are good. That's dharma. That's why when people study Hindu religion, I tell them like it is have a lot of dharma and you're fine. Make sure you collect the good fruits. Karma is bad fruits, rotten apples, rotten seeds. So try to not create that, you know.
Okay, so we got 5 minutes here. I want you to give a message to humanity and starseeds.
Okay, well, the message to humanity is make the better choice, be the better person, be bigger, know how things feel for you, and make that your life and teach that for everybody. And don't be afraid to share with people what your expression is and what you feel in life as you go through. Be honest, and most of all, be honest to yourself, because you cannot cheat on nobody. You can only cheat on yourself. So as in hip hop, we would say, keep it real. Keep it real.
Mm-hmm. Now, starseeds. Know what's your message to starseeds?
The message to starseeds is unfold, explore, get in your codes, learn your light language, ask for coding, ask for waking codes. If you want to have knowledge on the ships, then go to bed with the intention that you want to wake up on a ship and you want to talk to your relatives or whatever, and realize who you are and integrate that hybrid ET into the human vessel, and it's going to be more fun.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for that. My phone cut out there because someone called me.
Okay, yeah, that happens.
Yeah. Okay, man. Thanks for all your knowledge. I love you. And when the borders open back up here, we'll come down and visit. And how's Krista doing?
She's doing fine. She had a stalker that we have put to jail. It went really insane, you know, where it was like sending inappropriate pictures and it was like overboard.
Mm-hmm.
And moved to Sedona and said he moved here, you know, because of her and all that crap. And yeah, basically, so he was reported, and then he violated the order of protection, and now he's in jail.
Yeah. I want you to talk to Chris. I want you to get her to come on the show when she's ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell her. She'll come. Yeah.
Sounds good, man. I love you, and I love and light. I'll talk to you later.
Love and light. Talk to you later, man.
Bye.
Peace.